All right, welcome to Creating Refuge. I'm Tabitha Dial. Creating Refuge is about big wins through small goals and celebrating the imagination and intuition. We share firsthand insight, encouragement, and accountability. I also happen to be the author of Cheese Astrology, a weekly guide, and Creative Divination, Read Tea Leaves, and develop your personal code. Today we get to welcome back our guest, Circa Luca, to Creating Refuge. So please, if you could, reintroduce your Substack, yourself, and of course, a small goal that you have for yourself or your Substack.
Sure. Thank you, Tabitha. It's really always fun to join you here. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you. So I'm Circa Luca. I'm a New York State licensed psychotherapist for over 30 years. And I've joined Substack, like so many of you, because it gives a really unique perspective and opportunity to meet really interesting people and develop the creative process. So my Substack is called Everyone Needs a Therapist. And I am hopefully soon to be published author of a book called Where the Cracks Are, that is in editorial process as we speak.
So your small goal would be?
My small goal. So this came up for me the other day, and I posted about it, and we've been chatting, and we'll probably maybe talk a little bit more about it today, but to embrace myself, which includes my creativity, my intuition, to listen to that inner voice and just allow them to unfold cohesively.
Wow, that's a big step, but it's going to be so healing. I like how it's broad and like it feels pressure free in many ways. So everyone, please subscribe to us if we're resonating with you today. Big topic that we wanted to be sure we're covering is trusting your gut during those final stages of a manuscript. Like you're talking about, you're still in the editorial process. So anything that brings up for you initially?
Yeah, actually, the reason I was supposed to launch back in June, and the reason I'm still in the editorial process actually is because of trusting my gut. I have someone that I was working with to help me with that, and my gut was just telling me that we weren't at the point to release the book yet. Book is written, but my gut was just telling me that there were some pieces that were not in place fully yet for the book to be what my inner self wants it to be. And I trusted that and pulled back, and we had to pivot, and I learned how to embrace the pivot and all the things that come with the other side of the pivot around not releasing a book yet. So it was a journey of, if nothing else, trusting myself.
Oh, good. I'm glad you stuck with it. So a lot of risk and reward.
Yeah.
My own current journey with getting a manuscript ready has a lot to do with knowing what to cut. Was that one of your experiences? It sounds like you kind of realized there was more substance that was needed, but are you also finding that doesn't work anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you've had this, or I'm guessing you probably have, where I'm looking at a paragraph or a whole section, like I love this and I want this in here, and it's not the right spot, the right time. This might not be the right book. It doesn't belong here. So that cut, cutting what doesn't belong can be painful, but it feels so much better afterwards when you see that really didn't belong there.
Right. Yeah. So don't be afraid to make those drafts. You can always go back through the history. And I have a physical illustration of that. So here is a folder of books. Here's a folder of poems taken out of the poetry project that I was doing, that turned into the manuscript that got that's under contract right now. We don't have a release date yet, but it's Alert the Oracle. And I mean, it's maybe a couple dozen poems in here. And then down the road, maybe this was about manuscript 8 or so. Look at that big boy.
Wow.
It's got about 8 sections, and I had a whole different theme of how to divide the sections. Like I thought, oh, it'd be neat if we made it feel like it's a whole entire day that we're walking through. So section 1 is something like, let's see. Oh, I don't have section 1 page anymore, but 2 is Long Before Dawn. And then 3, Stretching Awake. It just didn't really resonate with the overall theme of the book. 4, Making the Bed, which is, it is very home-based, but has a lot of mystical woo-woo and ancestor stuff and kitchen rituals. And even benediction or prayer-like poems in it. So, every moment can be sacred, of course, and let's hope it is, but it didn't necessarily work. And so here's the final, or close enough to the final, that's been submitted. Yeah, and we have this nice little, but you can see I even still had to move around some of the poems.
It's never ending.
Yeah, and right after before I sent it to her, I was so grateful I could rewrite the about the author, which that was a big cut the things moment, where I had 2 about the author pages that I gave to my publisher initially, because I couldn't decide. Do I want to tell the nice story of how I came to do tea leaf reading, which is a big part of the manuscript, and my relationship to my grandmother, and that was in one, and then the other was very much more professional, and it was so easy and immediate to see after several months when it was time to give it back to her. It's like, yep, it's this one, and I can even cut out some more sentences. And the last 4 poems just got completely rearranged.
It's amazing what time and space brings to your vision, when your eyes, when you're able to edit and look at it from a space, from a distance.
Yes.
And you're like, what? How did I miss that the first 20 times I read that? And it so clearly should be this instead of that.
Yeah. And when you're doing that, are you reading out loud or reading on the page?
Mostly reading on the page, because the book that I wrote is 8 chapters, and it's a self-development book, so it's pretty, it's meaty. It would be a lot to read out loud, and I was kind of taking it in sections and revising and revising and revising. So I did read some sections out loud, and I noticed exactly what I think you're getting at, which is it's so much clearer when you read it out loud. Yeah. You can hear and you catch things so much differently. I guess the eyes, fill things in and skip over things, but when you hear it, you can hear, oh, that doesn't sound right.
When you hear it, you can't hide it. That's why it's so fun doing lives, because we get the real kind of personality and even the Freudian slips too. Guilty was charged last week. So beautiful. And yeah, your book is a self-help book, which ties into our next topic. We can always return to this juicy one of the willingness to let go of what doesn't fit in a manuscript. Writers will call that, getting rid of the fat, or getting rid of your darlings is the more popularized term. So as a psychotherapist, you recently reflected in your Substack notes on how we protect ourselves. So we'd love to hear more about the relationship of allowing yourself to be you, that's what you were talking about, and how that ties into creativity.
I love this topic because I genuinely believe that as human beings, we are creative by nature. I think that's our natural state of being. And, we might not always see it that way because of the labels we put upon things, but we are creating all day long. We're creating a day, we're creating connection, we're creating a meal, we're creating a home, we're creating our workspace. So we are constantly in a state of creating. I think if someone from outer space were looking down at us humans, they'd say, oh, they're so busy, they're always creating, they're creating so much. So I think that's our natural state of being. And I think that we as humans actually feel joy probably the most directly when we're in a state of creativity, whatever that means for us. So how they tie together is, I think we also feel joy when we feel safe to be our true self.
Yes.
And I think that being our true self is allowing ourselves to be creative in whatever that means for us. If it's just dancing around your kitchen, singing into a soup spoon, that's very creative and joyful and authentic. So I think they really tie together. I don't know that they're inseparable. I think actually, if you're not allowing yourself to be you, I don't know how successful the creativity will be. You can probably, if you're good at it, you can probably create some things, but I think it won't feel as rich or full as when you really let yourself unleash and embrace yourself.
Yeah. Why do you think that can be so hard to unleash yourself?
Because of the judgments we've received over our lifetime and not feeling safe, feeling we're going to be shamed or judged. When you look at little kids, I always like to look at babies and little kids as our touchstone for our baseline of being a human. Children, they're just who they are. They're dancing and singing and talking to their imaginary friends and just being themselves and stopping to have a conversation with an ant on the ground. It's only after we get harsh or painful feedback from the world that there's something about us that is wrong or bad, that we learn to contract and pull in parts of ourselves, hide and mask. So I think, chicken or the egg, I don't know. It's all one big ball of the same stuff of remembering how to embrace our true selves. It's not a learning, it's a remembering. We come into the world that way. And it's very healing and fosters our natural state of creativity and joy. So I think they all go together.
That's lovely. Yeah. That's a lot of allowing permission too, I would say.
Right. Allowing permission. And this has been coming up a lot lately. So I'll probably write about this and maybe we could talk about this another time. But it really comes down to trusting the self.
Yeah.
And a lot of people forget that. A lot of people are looking to trusting other people or looking for their permission or acceptance from the external world. And of course, that makes sense. But people forget about trusting the self. And so giving the self permission goes, again, intrinsically with trusting the self. If I trust myself, I know I've got this.
100%. That's so much trusting your gut with it's like we are our own manuscripts.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and we constantly have the chance to paint a different canvas or whatever metaphor you want to apply that uses our imaginations and that intuitive instinct at the same time. Yeah, very much putting our own imprint on our world, our activities.
And isn't that really what we're here to do, right? There's only one of each one of us, which is kind of hard to even wrap our head around that. And you're here to be you. So getting out of the way of that, doing the healing to bring yourself back to the place of embracing yourself. I part of why I love your books is because of those reasons. I mean, I just read the titles and it seems so clear that you are a person who has embraced your true self and given yourself permission to be you.
Yeah.
It's so fab. Besides, the writing is spectacular. It's also such a model for those of us to say, be you. Write the book that is calling to you. It will find the places and the people it's supposed to.
Thank you. Yeah. I'd love to do more of that kind of, encouraging people. And that's what those books are for, is I want people to see, hey, so many things are possible. And I don't necessarily have to write the great American novel. I can write in smaller chunks which is a lot easier, I think,
Yeah.
than the task you took on with your book in your 8 chapters, which doesn't necessarily sound monumental, but my goodness, what 8 chapters can cover too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the biggest thing I've ever written. I'm used to writing for school and for myself, but articles, small pieces, much
Mm-hmm.
easier for my brain to wrap itself around the cohesiveness of it from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
The 8 chapters is definitely at my maximum capacity
Yeah.
and a little beyond.
Yeah. So for all the Substackers out there, I'm interested. You can let Circa know in chat. Uh, do we tend, and do you tend, Circa, to write a pretty solid draft or even most of an article and let it sit there? Or do you prefer to maybe just get it out and good is good, perfect is the enemy of good kind of philosophy? Do you like to have the time to let it simmer?
Definitely the time to let it simmer. For me, my process was, which was new for me, was I got sort of an idea, a download, just almost like a calling inside of me of something that needed to come out. And I tried to just honor that as much as I could and just get it out and then put it aside.
Mm-hmm.
I think I shared this last time, my 8th grade social studies teacher told us, and it has been my gold standard: write something, put it in a drawer, leave it there for at least a day, two if possible, and then go back and it will make so much more sense. So that was my process, was sort of this coming and going, but returning to the piece over and over, refining it. But that first initial, just getting it out,
Right.
and then the refining came later. Yeah, we have a few people watching, so I'm curious at what for you guys who are here with us live. If you want to share with us your writing process, whether it's an article, a book, a Substack post, whatever it might be.
Poem recipe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not just about the evolution of publishing a book, but we're so excited that to think about the concept that everyone is different after they've published a book. Going back to your analogy of being masked or having to put on a performance when we have to guard our creativity, you're suddenly unmasked. You've got a book out, and you get to perform this part of yourself that is no longer suppressed. Baby, it's in black and white for people to leaf through whenever. So I'd love you to imagine, Circa, that the time has come when you get to hold that proof copy of your book in your own hands. What do you think some of your thoughts will be, or what will feel different at that point?
Yeah, I had a little preview of that at one point in the earlier editorial process when it hit me. Like, oh, I don't want to curse on here, but like, oh my goodness, this is going to be out in the world. Right now it's private. It's mine. It's like my little baby that hasn't left the house, right? And it's just,
Right.
it belongs to me. And but once it's out in the world, you really lose control over it, right? It's people can read it, have opinions about it, talk about it, post about it, share about it, and and they're going to think and say whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
And and I guess, I mean, you can speak to this. This is just my imagination. It doesn't really belong to you anymore once it's out in the world.
That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, it's a gift. It's much like we'll even see the phenomenon on Substack when we've published something. People are going to get different things out of it.
Yeah.
They're going to name different things, and that is so rewarding, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's part of why we do it. Part of it is self-expression and giving a gift to the world. And the other part is the connection that we get, when it lands with someone and they take it in and they give back a piece, their interpretation, their reaction, how it touched them, something they saw that you didn't see about something you wrote. So it becomes this live dynamic.
Wonderful. Now, have you been able to share this book with anybody you want to talk about? Any experiences that you're comfortable talking about where you've already seen that in the formation of your book?
Well, yeah, the only people who've read it at this point, besides the editor who's got it in his hands right now, is my 22-year-old son, and he's just an amazing person in every way. Of course, I'm biased, but he's so supportive and also loves to read. So I said, hey, would you mind like just take a look at this chapter? And in some of the chapters, it has some like workbook sections where you can. There are some prompts and some activities the reader can do. And I just left him in the kitchen with it. I was cleaning or cooking dinner, and I looked over, and he had gotten paper and a pen and was, writing and was doing the activities. And I was really so touched by that. Like, wow, that
Wow.
it kind of brought it to life. It breathed life into it, that somebody was interacting with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's huge. And yeah, I love that it's got the activity element too. We don't always get that in self-help books.
Yeah.
So awesome bonus there. So I think so many people are turning to wanting to handwrite things, wanting to annotate their books again. All that marginalia, which adds a whole nother layer of taking your own mask off.
Yeah.
And joining somebody else who's brave enough.
Yeah, that was, there are choices about publishing, and for me, it's really important to have for my book to be an actual book, so people can have it for that purpose, so they can write in it, take notes, work on the sections. But I think I'm generalizing, but I think there's a whole process there that works with the hands and the brain and the way we interact with the material that you don't get in an ebook. And I love my ebooks and I love audiobooks, not putting them down in any way. I just think there's a process that's different.
Yes, no, there really is. Like, I'm a big believer in planners, and writing things down just puts something in your neurological goo that nothing else really does. And the neurological goo, I'm sure you've seen this because you talked about reading the books. In the tea leaf reading book, I purposely have a page that's dedicated to people being able to draw what they're seeing in the teacup. Like, that's the handle and that's the center. They can either draw or write what they see and where. And there's at the top, it's question, if any, for every insight, 79 exercises in the tea leaf reading book. And then, funny enough, the whole idea of interacting with our books, I had a soft launch of Cheese Astrology, a weekly guide, at an expo I do every year, and it's usually end of March, early April. And we had to take out the planner that was designed to go with it because the publication platform Ingram Spark identified it as too repetitious, so they were worried, this isn't all original content. So I could only take that proof copy and have pre-ordered pages, but one woman did order the book, and she came back and she saw it sitting there, and she goes, "That's the book." And she came back the next day of the expo to show me that she had her friends like write their own birth or their own name on their birth week. So
that's brilliant,
because of how it's all broken up. Yeah. Into the decans as opposed to just 12 signs. Yeah, and that was an application I hadn't necessarily thought of, although I'm lying, because in one of the early drafts, here we go, knowing what to cut. One of the things that had to be cut was, okay, a birthday or significant thing on this date. And that honestly could have still been snuck in on the normal entries, but we were under deadline.
Yeah. But so that's that interaction with someone else that enhances your book. Like, she made it her own.
Yeah, and she intuitively knew that it needed to be back there.
Well, this for your revised copy, right? Revised edition, you can add that in.
Second edition. All right, noting it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, and I guess that gives into the next topic of what it's like to have your book out in the wild versus pre-publishing, which you were already talking about. Like, it's no longer. yours. You don't have a chance to kind of, oh, oops, I didn't really want to say it that way. Oh, there's a better word for this. Oh my goodness, I use the word very, very often. uh, yeah, that's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, can you speak about that? Just I guess, being exposed in a way in the world, or what it's like being on the other side of publishing.
I think an important takeaway for everyone is to not attach yourself too much to a thing that you made. That is not you. That is a lovely thing that you made. You put a lot of heart and effort into it, and be willing to and be ready to accept some criticism. If they have criticism, they paid attention, you know? So that's a good thing about it. I also, I'm a former journalist, so thankfully I have a lot of developed a thick skin. And just, I think focusing on the gift of having a book out and being able to, for example, this weekend I walked into a cool metaphysical store and I said, hey, do you sell any local authors? And they said, well, we're moving at the end of next week to a different location. So, we really don't have our full inventory. And I talked to her about my books and she's like, oh, that's really cool. And tea leaf reading has been coming up a lot. So that was a wonderful thing to be able to do here and there, and not putting pressure on yourself to necessarily unrelentingly market is also a very important thing, to have a healthy relationship with those books.
Yeah, what a great perspective, Tabitha. Thank you. I mean, you really combined a positive perspective. Criticism means they've been paying attention. So thank you for paying attention to my work, and also not taking it personally, right? That the book is not you, or whatever you've created, your song, your painting, whatever it is you've made. It's not you. It's something you've created and put into the world, but you are so much more than that. And to remember that, because I think that speaks back to that first piece we started with, which is why people shy away from expressing themselves or embracing their true selves, because they're afraid of maybe harsh judgment or rejection. So remembering that this is something you've created, it isn't you. And not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything is going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Very cute. Very right. Yeah. So absolutely, at the end of the day, the best thing to do is be ourselves, as at least in our creative processes, and grow from that, get the safety of that and security that comes with it. Yeah. So, yay. Thank you. A little call to action as we wait for if anybody in chat wants to ask any questions. Unfortunately, I can't see chat.
I'm watching it. There's there are several people watching, which is great. Hi. No comments. Okay. Well, someone said they appreciate us. Thank you. That's very nice. We appreciate you. Any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and I'll monitor.
Yeah. Keep an eye out. All right. So quick call to action. Start a project, prepare yourself for a leap forward, or gain ease and comfort in any area of your life. If you're ready, I would love to do a private tarot card or tea leaf reading with you. I also have 2 coaching consultations coming up in the month ahead. So if that seems like something that you want to maybe do, please DM me and we can see if we're a good fit. Circa, anything else we need to know about you and creativity?
We covered a lot. I think I love to support people connecting with their true self. And as I said, I think creativity is a big piece of that. So I'm going to encourage them to follow up on your call to action and or find their way to tap into their own creativity in whatever that is. Please don't judge it. Just welcome it, embrace it in full color.
Welcome it, embrace it, and
in full color, really just
Oh,
undiluted. Let it rip.
yep. Yep. Wonderful. Well, thank you again so much for your time. It's always a pleasure and love doing it with you.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Bye. Oh, see? And
We're still live.
we're still live. Hopefully, this went for both of us. Mwah.